tuning in to the Embodied Astrology podcast. I'm Renee Sills. I'm a consulting astrologer, embodiment educator, and the creator of Embodied Astrology. Embodied Astrology is much more than these horoscopes in our podcast. It's actually a movement that is full of people who are interested in the ways that astrology can help us more deeply embody our earthly and universal intelligence at this time. We offer ongoing classes, workshops, trainings, and community process spaces where we practice astrology as a language for living. We blend astrology with art, science, healing methodologies, and activist strategies. We hold space for ourselves and each other to expand and explore symbolism, mythology, and meaning, to queer, unpack, and evolve this ancient technology in service of our present needs and future potentials. If this sounds like something you've been looking for, or if my readings resonate for you and you want to take them to the next level, I hope you'll join us sometime. Stick around after your horoscope and I'll tell you a bit more about what we offer, how we work, and why I think embodied astrology might be a great space for you too. If this work benefits you and you want to help me keep giving these monthly readings for free, or help us keep all of our offerings available with financial accessibility and sliding scale, please take a moment right now to like, follow, and subscribe to our channels. This season's horoscopes are intuitive offerings for each sign of the zodiac. May they serve and support you in some way. Listen for your sun, moon, and rising signs. Remember that not everything is for everyone. Take what works, leave the rest, and make the meaning that's most meaningful for you. Thanks so much for being here. Now, onto your horoscope. Hello, Cancer. Welcome to Scorpio season. This reading is for all Cancer placements, definitely including sun, moon, and rising in Cancer. All right, my Cancerian friends, I am sure that many of you know that your sign is a water sign, and you probably also know that Scorpio is a water sign as well. And when water meets water, we have more water. Water molecules bond together. Wherever water is, it will find itself and its mass will accumulate. And as we move into Scorpio season, there is a lot that's happening in the water element. And Cancer, Scorpio, and your third watery friend, Pisces, are full of planetary energy. And so one thing that I want to say right off the bat is that whenever we have a lot of water astrologically, we may have events on Earth where there's a lot of water. We are definitely living at a time when there's literally a lot of flooding. But we are also living at a time when there is a lot of water in the symbolic or archetypal realm. And that means there's a lot of feelings. There is an emotional density and saturation in the collective field. And for watery type people, Cancerian type people, y'all are sensitive to that. You vibrate and resonate with water as a frequency. And the kind of water that Cancer is the kind of water that is contained in bodies. So if you feel all of your squishy fluidness, your 60 to 70% self that is water, those waters are Cancerian waters, life-giving, initiating waters. Water also that forms containers. If you think about how over time the drip, drip, drop of water onto rock will actually carve out a basin, and then water has a place to be. That's another kind of Cancerian water. Scorpionic water is deep water. It is water that travels underneath the earth, or water that is held in swamps. It's water that doesn't move. That might be like ice. When water takes its form as ice, it expands, right? And it becomes a substance that can maneuver in really different ways than water when it melts. All that to say, we are living at a time when there are a lot of different feelings, and feelings are taking many different forms. And as a Cancerian, part of what you know how to do instinctually, implicitly, because of your Cancer innate wisdom, you know something about holding feelings, and that means holding them in your body as well as holding them for others. And over the course of Scorpio season, I think that a lot of you are navigating emotional holding really intensely, and there's a kind of focus there. And this is such a skill that you have. I think also, for many of you, it is an art, and it might be something that you actually practice at and train in and literally have skills in. And this is a time on earth where we need your skills. And there are definitely some components in your charts right now that make me think that you are in a period of time when those skills are being called forth and you might be getting some new assignments, so to speak. But also emotional holding definitely can take a toll on your body, whether or not you're a person who has developed a whole lot of skills around it. And emotional holding can sometimes do funky things in relationships, especially if you are not supported in that holding, or if you're the only one who's holding, or if you're holding things that actually need to be released. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. And let's just start off with how holding and being with feelings is a superpower of many of the watery being types, and especially of Cancerian types. So I said this a moment ago, but I will say it again. Cancerian wisdom is an intelligence that can elevate holding feelings to an art form. And I'm saying this with a halfway kind of mischievous grin, because sometimes this is something you're trying to do, and you're like, this is my art form. You know, you're crafting it, you're honing it, you're refining it. And sometimes it is just your nature. And those of us around you who are not so adept at holding feelings might really notice that about you, that you are very good at it. So the creative capacity that is present right now is really strong. And if you are a person who thinks about tending the emotional field, or working with psychological subjectivity or the internal experience, or if you're a person who's involved in any kind of caretaking at any level, this is a period of time that is calling on you to really show up in some major ways. And when I say you can elevate it to an art form, I am being a little bit mischievous, because I'm giving you a compliment, but I'm also saying that sometimes you can go above and beyond. And there is a little bit of a need for discernment as we move into Scorpio season. And the discernment that I want to propose is that this is a time for you to ask what is sustainable for you, and where do you actually really want and need to be putting your energy. And I will also include other aspects of investment, like your finances or other material resources, your labor, your attention, etc. I'm saying that with the awareness that we can't always choose to put our energy and attention into the places that are most important to us. And it's certainly often very challenging to prioritize and put our energy only in those places. For most people, there has to be some amount of investment in things that are not actually that meaningful in order to continue surviving. That's just the unfortunate state of the world as it is right now. And also, we can make choices inside of that. So where does it feel most fruitful and most important for you to be practicing holding space and holding feelings and tuning in on a sensitivity level? And I'll ask you that as both an internal question and an external question. So internally, this is about you and whatever is happening in your thoughts. However you are directing your attention in the constant looping of your attention. What is your mind circling around? You'll notice that there are certain thoughts that you're having, or thought patterns that you're having, that leave you feeling stressed out, anxious, depressed, hopeless, nihilistic, and totally defeated. You'll also notice that there are other kinds of thoughts that might make you feel better or feel good, but are really solidly in the realm of fantasy. And they might have a kind of like dual component to them, that you're fantasizing about something but then feeling kind of depressed because it doesn't feel possible, and that can create a little bit of an internal swing between what you imagine and then kind of what you're perceiving right now. So in either circumstance, or make the meaning that's meaningful for you, if you're noticing, oh, there's particular kinds of thought patterns that I'm having and they don't make me feel the way that I want to feel. This is a season for you to really work with your mental and emotional habits and body. And how you address your mind and your attention right now can be really strategic. It can also be something that is disciplined and something that is practiced and iterative and repetitive. So if you notice, oh, this whole line of thinking always creates anxiety and depression for me, but yet I can't help myself because I have a brain and human body chemistry, and brains love sensation, and human body chemistries respond. And when my body produces stress hormones, it actually creates an addictive response in my brain, because that's how we're built. When you notice that is a great time for you to use your mind to shift your brain. And I'm going to say replace the negative thought patterns with something that is more expansive. And I'm not going to say replace what is negative with what is positive, because to me it's not a binary like that. It's not an either or. Again, we're living through a time where there is a lot of emotional density, and it might not be appropriate to try and just see the positive. That could really feel like bypassing. And it might really be appropriate for you to be able to be with grief if it's there, or be with distress if it's there. But that's different than a kind of like neurotic loop where you're constantly kind of coming back to something over and over and over and over again. So that kind of loop, whether it's judgment about other people, or worry about the future, or anxiety about who you are or what you did or how somebody else is, or something like that, if you're looping with it, in Scorpio season, you have a lot of support to use your mind to change your brain. And we have to repeat patterns. I forget exactly the number. I think it's something like 2,700 times in order to really integrate them. So if you think about how long it takes for a baby to figure out how to use its hands or articulate a word, that baby tries so many times, like multiple times every single day, all day long. It is trying to figure out how to pick something up or get its mouth to make a particular kind of sound. We forget that as adults. We think that, we've got everything figured out. We forget that we're always learning. And so if you can use your mind to train your brain, what that looks like is getting cozy with the frustration of having a habit that's slippery, or having an addictive mental pattern that is an addictive mental pattern. And so every time it comes up, you're like, there it is. I'm going to now replace it with this other thought. And that's intentional. It's like lifting weights, and it feels like lifting weights until it doesn't. And if you resonate with what I'm saying, and if you had some kind of understanding of, oh, that's my loop that Renee is referencing, if you do this every single day throughout Scorpio season, by the time we get to Sagittarius season, your thoughts will be different. It takes diligence, discipline, and devotion, but I think that you can do it. So, okay, that's one direction. Now, there's this other direction about you taking space, holding or caretaking or holding of emotion, elevating it to an art that actually looks like leadership to me. And this is where some of you have found your way into roles and positions. This could be professionally as well as relationally and societally or communally or in your family or something like that. But you have found your way into a role or position where you know something about how to care for people. You're a Cancer. You came into this life knowing about basic needs. You came in understanding the basics of basic care. And something about what you know is now dawning on the world around you as a need. And people are like, oh, you know that. Help. We need help. And if they're not saying it like that, they're saying it in ways where you're like, oh, that's what they're saying. You know, they're saying it in their attitudes, their energies, or behaviors. But many of you are really being called into service of some kind right now. And that service could, again, look so many different ways. But the feeling that I have is actually there is a momentum that is building for you right now. And over the last 2 years, I've been talking to you in the Cancer horoscopes about leadership. And every single time I say something about it, I'm like, you don't have to be a CEO. You don't have to be the president. You could be a person who has a group of friends and you see, because you're sensitive and intelligent and perceptive, that your group of friends needs to mobilize in a particular way. And you love your friends and you want to help everyone mobilize. And so you start to enact something. And it doesn't even look like leadership, but it is, because you are helping us move in a different direction, or you're providing a possibility model or something like that. And then some of you are literally in positions of leadership. And this could look like parenting. It could look like having a job where other people are looking to you to tell them what to do, or being a teacher or something like that. If you are in any position of leadership, and all of you are, this is a period of time in which your leadership skills are going to be called upon. And it's not just Scorpio season, it's not just 2024, it is the foreseeable future. There is so much need for you to believe in yourself right now, to gather your courage, to anchor in the confidence that you have around what it is that you see and that you understand is needing to happen in some particular situation. And I said there is a momentum for the foreseeable future that is starting to take shape. And so even situations right now that might feel small, personal, and like an episode of something, those have potential to build into something bigger over time. And so if you notice that something is starting to click with you where you're like, oh, I'm really good at this. Oh, I have a skill this way. Please take note of that, Cancer, because over the course of the next couple of years, there are going to be opportunities for you to put that skill into motion and into application more deeply and with a different kind of commitment that could take you somewhere that feels kind of exciting in your life. And I don't know, again, what this looks like for any of you individually, but it does look like potentially up-leveling in your career or progressing in your role in some way, assuming positions of leadership that increase as you mature and continue to gain these skills, etc. Okay, so now I'll also say that Scorpio season is a period of time in which there is a lot of back and forth energy. And as we move into the month of November, this back and forth energy starts to become really strong with the forward momentum. So there is a new moon on November 1st in Scorpio. This is a new moon that I would definitely suggest you tune in with to ask yourself questions about your own personal sustainability and vitality. The feeling that I have for you right now is, what do you want to pour your energy into the most in order for it to grow and take shape in the future and in the world? And that includes your life, and it also includes beyond your life. We are creative beings through and through, from the moment that we are conceived until the last breaths we take, and even beyond that, our bodies continue to collaborate with the phenomenal world, which is a world of creation. There is a constant evolution and cycles of creation that we are a part of. Your creative energy is the energy of your actual life and presence. And right now, something is asking you, what do you want to do with your life energy? And you can meditate on this in a way that is well within the material world and think about, what do you want to create for your life and your job and your family and your personness? And you can also meditate on this in a big way as a future ancestor and a person who is co-creating and shaping the world around you. What do you want to be pouring your life energy into that's bigger than you, that's beyond you, that you want to be participating with? This new moon really wants to support you to grow in your consciousness of what you are cultivating and generating. And it also wants to inspire you in your creativity. So another great reason to think about any kind of creative practice or expressive practice that you can bring in around the new moon would be awesome for you. Between the new moon and the full moon, there is a ramping up energetically. Collectively, societally, this time is kind of bonkers. It's a feeling of increasing agitation and a kind of, I'm going to say, drama in the atmosphere. And when things are dramatic, people feel affected, right? Like we go see a dramatic movie and people feel affected. They cry, they scream, they clutch their pearls. And this is a dramatic period of time. And in this period of time that feels dramatic, there is a lot of kind of slippery energy that's happening. And we want to be really careful about what we're putting out into the world. And that includes actions, energies, assertions, and behaviors. It also really includes anything that's being initiated or started. And for you, Cancer, I can't stress this enough. Don't put your energy, attention, action, and that includes your reactions. Don't put that energy into bullshit. Don't do it. Avoid the drama as much as possible. Some of the drama you need to pay attention to because it's drama in your field and it's drama that's affecting a world that you are a part of. But you really need to know right now what you're investing your energy into, and that needs to be a firm commitment. So if there's a whole lot of drama because a general election is happening and everyone's in a tizzy because the choices are not the choices that people want to make, and no matter what the choice is, people are going to be upset. If you are feeling activated, reactive, affected, anxious, upset, any kinds of ways, the drama of the election is not the point. The point is, what is the drama doing in here with your expression, with your energy, with your mind? You don't need to be the drama. And when the drama comes to you, because other people, you can help remind them that they also don't need to be the drama. And this is where these themes of holding space for emotions and creative expressions of some kind really become life-saving tools. When drama feels high, if you have the luxury and the privilege of not needing to go into immediate reaction because you are literally trying to survive, if you have time and space to just have your feelings about it, then invite some people over and put on some pumping music and dance for a while and then make a collective poem. Like, do something that can activate and alchemize the drama and help you and other people around you feel more creative inside of it. And regardless of what's happening in the outer world right now, you are a person that can help yourself and others around you experience the sequencing of emotions. And that means that we're not trying to skip anything. We're not trying to pretend that it's not there, but we're also not trying to stay there. And if drama is present, then let's bring our attention to the drama in a way that can allow us to also laugh with it and cry with it and turn it into something that allows us to get a bigger breath or bigger kind of space and connect with each other around it. make the meaning that's meaningful for you. So I don't know if that resonates, but if it does, make the meaning that's meaningful for you. This is also a period of time, Cancer, that I want to caution you about investments. And that includes your energy, your attention, your time, your labor, your presence. It also definitely includes your money. The first 2 weeks of November, a lot of you are in a rush to give something and to do something. And the rush that you are in, again, you may be motivated and compelled and propelled by what you are feeling. And it might feel really important for you to be in action right now. And I salute you. And also in December, by December, there's going to be a little bit of a reversal of something. And over the following couple of months through until the end of February, you're going to need to be reflecting, I'm going to say pretty deeply, on how you are using your energy and how you are investing your energy. So for any of you who, especially as we get into November and kind of past that new moon, if you feel a sense of like you're charging forward with something that is an expenditure of your personal resources, time, energy, labor, attention, money, possessions, try to slow down a little bit. You don't have to be stingy at all. You don't have to not give what you feel compelled to give, but try and slow down a little bit. And some cautions that I want to offer. Number one, if you are trying to help somebody else right now, make sure that you are helping them in ways that they have asked for. And if you don't know if the thing that you're trying to do would be helpful, you can ask. Don't blindly jump into any kind of like savior project at this time. That is a surefire way to misuse your own energy and power right now. So make sure that you know that how you're investing your resources, time, energy, attention, labor, money, is actually wanted, that it is actually going to be helpful. 2, try and invest in ways or mobilize in ways that allow you some kind of experimentation and check-in down the line. So don't sign up for something in perpetuity right now. At least have some kind of condition for yourself that if not by the beginning of December, then by the end of February in 2025, you get an opportunity to review this decision. And then 3rd, your values are evolving right now, and they are shifting quite a lot. And as we move into Scorpio season, a lot of you are really, it feels like you're very centered in a feeling tone place and in a lot of your inner wisdom. But then as we move towards Sagittarius season, there is some confusion that comes up in your charts. And the confusion really has this tone of make sure that you're putting your energy into the right places. Don't go off on wild goose chases. Don't get trolled, right? Like don't let all of your energy and attention get spilled out into some jerk who's, in the comments somewhere, and then you get all hot and bothered about that. Like that is a misuse of your time and your energy. And right now there's some sensitivity in your chart. And this goes back to what I was saying at the beginning about holding feelings also takes an emotional toll, and it takes a physical toll, and it takes a toll on the materiality conditions of your life. And that includes you being able to care for yourself, for your family, etc. And when you put your energy into people, projects, places, things that it's actually a misuse of your energy, you know it because your health declines. That can include your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health. And it might not be that you need to withdraw everything, but it might need to be that you give in different ways, or that you ask for help, or that you have some kind of time boundary around what it is that you are going to be doing or putting out there. And so the last thing that I'm going to say is that Scorpio season in 2024 is a period of time when a lot of you are really thinking about, how do we grow from here? Where do we go from here? And that question can be about you personally. It can be about you in particular relationships. And it can also be about you with bigger circumstances that you are feeling yourself a part of. And so this question of where do we go from here? Really let that question get anchored in a core part of your being, and in a part of your being that is very connected to values. And I'm going to say that this core part of your being absolutely understands that in order to care for the world, you need to place yourself in the world. So if you're trying to care for the world and you are not taking care of your mental and emotional health, then what you're doing is not actually going to be as caring as it could be. And sometimes that feels very counterintuitive. Like, how am I supposed to go lie down when all of these people can't lie down? That's a great question. If you're in a position where you can assist somewhere, please make sure that you are getting some amount of support and giving yourself some amount of support. Because if you don't get that, and if you don't give that to yourself, you won't be able to sustain what you're trying to assist. Okay, is that where I'm going to leave it? The last thing I'm going to say, last thing I'm going to say is that at the end of Scorpio season, we've got a full moon on November 15th, and then we move towards Sagittarius season. And there is like a real big shift in energy happening at this time. And again, this is a period of time where we are moving out of a kind of slippery energy. Those first 2 weeks of November, very slippery. Definitely want to be cautious about where you're stepping and how and what you're putting out. But as we get out of Scorpio season and into Sagittarius season, and there is this sense of you really wanting to take action in some way, I do get a feeling that big picture shifts are really starting to unfold. And how you are thinking about the future and where do we grow from here, or how do we go from here, has everything to do with what's happening in the moment. What we are doing right now will become part of how we grow. And by focusing on the future, a lot of people get to ignore the present. And when you tune in with the present, you are probably in a position that allows you to care the best for yourself and others. And so the last thing that I'm going to say is that there is a lot that's shifting in your life and in the world right now. The more present that you can stay with yourself and with others as these shifts are happening, the more you will find that whatever the next steps are that need to be made organically emerge. And they emerge in the authenticity of what can be expressed in the here and the now. And what can be expressed becomes more deep and profound the more present we are. And to circle back to this thing about creativity, we are living through times of chaos, but chaos is also the mother of invention. So they say chaos is inherently a very creative field. And any capacity that you have right now to meet the moment with presence is you being the most creative self that you can be. The more you meet the moment with presence, that means you're not in your head about it, you're not in the past, you're not in the future, you are right here and right now, and you are tapped in and tuned in and noticing what's here and not trying to avoid it, but just being here. That gives you the most creative options. The absolute most creative options, because in the field of the present moment, so many things are possible. But when we're stuck in the past, or we're hooked on the future, or we're looping around this or that, often we find ourselves in hypothetical binaries that are not real. In the present moment, in the here and the now, you have so much creative capacity. Okay, Cancer, I hope any or all of that resonates for you, makes sense, or feels helpful. If it does, please stick around for a couple of minutes. I want to share a little bit more with you about current and upcoming astrology, and also what Embodied Astrology is doing. A lot of what we do is creative space tending and using astrology in ways that help hold the field for expression of what is. And if this is something that you're interested in as well, we would love to hang out with you in an Embodied Astrology event sometime. Thanks for listening to your Scorpio season reading. If this horoscope resonated for you, please show your support by liking, following, and subscribing, and by sharing our work with your friends and community. These are the #1 ways to support this work and help us grow. If this work benefits you, I also hope you'll consider working more deeply with us at Embodied Astrology. Because we time our classes, workshops, and events with current transits, we're always offering to the present moment, and we are usually right on time. Every month and throughout the seasons, we engage the creative, experimental, and experiential aspects of current astrology. And our work is always given with an ethos of generosity and accessibility. Our classes, workshops, and series are available with scholarships and by sliding scale, and no one is turned away for lack of funds. We do rely on your support and presence to keep us going, though. Please help sustain and support our work by making a one-time or recurring donation, or becoming a member, or sign up for one of our current or upcoming offerings. This season, I hope you'll join me for Somatic Space, which is a class I offer every Monday where we prepare ourselves to work with the astrology of the week ahead through gentle, healing body practices, breathwork, meditation, and visualization. You can drop in once to try it out, or if you become a member, you'll also get access to the past classes video archive and Tea Time, which is a monthly conversation space where we learn and share how astrology is moving through our lives. Both Tea Time and Somatic Space are great ways to get to know me a bit better and for me to get to know you. Our conversations and practices are always rich, vast, and heartfelt, and the connections and community that build in these spaces is so deeply nourishing and incredibly special. In early December of this year, Mars will station retrograde in Leo. Over the course of the following 3 months until next February, Mars will retrocess or retrograde from Leo to Cancer, where it stations direct at the end of next February. Between now and December, the retrograde influence of Mars is increasing as we move through what's called a shadow period. This is when a planet is traveling direct over a zodiacal degree range that will be imminently revisited by its upcoming retrograde. When Mars is retrograde, especially in the signs of Leo and Cancer, we all need to work with our basic instincts and impulses more attentively. These are times when small misunderstandings can escalate quickly into large conflicts, and when anger, aggression, and desires that are unconscious or unprocessed in our individual and collective experiences can surface suddenly and sometimes quite dramatically. These are also times when we can grow immensely and develop our individual and collective strengths, courage, capacities, and what I think of as our deep spiritual will. Ultimately, this is a transit that wants to help us use our power with more consciousness and also up-level our emotional and energetic awareness, especially around areas of conflict, impact, and intent. Sorting through the stuff of conflict is messy work. No matter what the conflict is, there is always more than what's visible on the surface. Since our personal and interpersonal experiences can't get separated from the institutional, environmental, and ideological, it can be profoundly overwhelming and hard to move towards conflict transformation when most of our issues are totally complex and entangled on multiple levels. In order to prepare for this transit, our faculty member, Ramon Parrish, is offering a 3-week series, November 7th through 21st, called Constellations of Conflict. In this series, we'll do the work of investigating the intersections of conflict as they emerge in our individual bodies, interrelationships, shared spaces, and the larger world. Through the lens of astrology, we'll use our natal placements, synastry, and transit timing as guides. We'll explore how current astrology and this Mars retrograde can help us navigate, engage, and skillfully meet this time of profound conflict and transformation here on Earth. This Scorpio season features a grand trine between the Sun in Scorpio, Mars in Cancer, and Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. This season, more than most, is a time of deep water and intense feelings. In astro speak, water always asks us to move down and inwards, and to get in touch with our emotional bodies and internal experiences. Working with the wisdom of water also assists in working effectively with Earth. When we can craft and create containers that hold space for feelings to be as they are, we'll naturally find our way into flow, and what we don't need, we can let go in ways that nourish, cleanse, hydrate, and sustain. Over the weekend of November 9th and 10th, Embodied Astrology facilitators Gabs 404 and Janata Petrus will hold 2 watery, earthy sessions to make space for the following week's Taurus full moon. In November 9th's Nebula Lab, Gabs will be joined by Dani D'Emilia, a non-binary, eco-trans feminist artist and educator whose work with radical tenderness and hospicing modernity invites intimacy into the layers of life right now. This is an opportunity to be with the immensity of the moment, get grounded in our bodies, politicized in our healing practices, and held in our humanity by the larger cosmic web of inseparability. The following day, November 10th, Janata Petrus returns for the Taurus full moon edition of her monthly Artistic Alchemy series. In these classes, we orient with the full moon axis in our charts in order to reflect on our creative devotions and the realities of surviving in a capitalistic world that is filled with uncertainty and possibility. We practice staying grounded with the rhythms of astrology and spirit, channeling the wisdom of cosmic alignment, and opening to celestial guidance from our ancestors as support for living creatively through times of unknown. Following Janata's artistic alchemical opening, Sherry Taylor and I will co-lead a special council session the following weekend on Saturday, November 17th, which is the day after the full moon, where we'll focus specifically on astrology and ancestral attunement through working with the symbolism of Saturn. Sherry has been faculty at Embodied Astrology for over 2 years now, where her work in deepening and expanding Saturn's mythic and archetypal symbolism has yielded a powerful path of devotional practice. Our co-led session initiates a new cycle of Saturnian devotion, which Sherry will lead through 2 subsequent sessions, culminating on the December solstice. You can find more information about everything and everyone I just mentioned in the show notes or through the study section at embodiedastrology.com. If you can't make our live events, but you still want to participate, your registration will always include recording access. I certainly hope to see you soon over Scorpio season in one of our spaces. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for listening and engaging. I'm wishing you all the best in this season and beyond. Bye for now.